Valerie Amos is the United Nations Humanitarian Chief, and she joins us now live from the Jordanian capital, Amman. Good to have you with us. Of course, it's your job to try and get aid into that very messy situation which Rula's been talking to us about. Is the Syrian government still objecting to you bringing aid in, especially when it comes to the border in the north?
We've had a number of discussions with the Syrian government about getting aid into that group of people who are stuck on the Syrian side of the border with Turkey. The government, of course, are very reluctant for any aid to come in through borders that they themselves do not control. And at this point in time,
if I could jump in here, what reason are they giving you when you say they're very reluctant? I take that to mean they simply haven't agreed yet to let you bring in aid over the northern border. Why?
They have not agreed. They say that they will not agree to it. This is a border that is not really controlled by the government. We don't have any such issue with the border, for example, with Lebanon or with Jordan, where we are able to bring goods and supplies in, where there are customs checkpoints, and the government is controlling that border crossing.
Right. Now, what I understand, though, the aid that you can bring in elsewhere, it's really difficult to get it into the north. And there's a lot of people there who are suffering without aid. Allow me to ask you, since the government doesn't control those crossings, and I know that the UN regulations, but why not just coordinate with the opposition who control that part of the border to save lives in the north?
Well, of course, it's important that we save lives, but the UN General Assembly, which is made up of the member states of the United Nations, when they agreed the terms on which we could conduct humanitarian operations, they said in that resolution that we needed to do it with the consent of the affected country. We do not have the consent of the affected country, and that is why we have worked so hard to try to get aid to those people through Syria itself. Of course, it's much harder. The security situation in some parts of the country remains extremely volatile. It's more difficult. So it would be easier if we were able to bring the aid in that way. But given that the Syrian authorities have said no, we have to look for alternatives and do it as quickly and as effectively as possible.
I guess the only way around that might be a UN Security Council resolution. Would you call for one here on Al Jazeera, a UN Security Council resolution to say there's got to be aid taken in from every way necessary?
I have briefed the Security Council on a number of occasions about the situation inside of Syria. Every time I speak to the Council members, I talk about the importance of us being able to reach everyone who needs help. That's what humanitarian aid is about. We do not differentiate in terms of who people support, what religion they are, what ethnicity they are, where in the country they are located. Given what has happened today, you can see that it is the ordinary women, men and children of Syria who are very much the target of these attacks.
So given what you said, would you call then for the UN Security Council to make that resolution? Given what you said, you don't differentiate, people need this aid.
I have briefed the Security Council on a number of occasions, and I have made it clear to them that we need to have access to all of the places where people are in need. That's why I was so pleased that the Syrian government itself enabled us to do what we call cross-line operations. That's between government and opposition areas inside of Syria itself. So we're talking to the government, we're talking to the opposition, we're in contact with the ACU. Over the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've made a lot more progress in terms of getting aid in. But given the scale of what is needed here, what we are able to do is not keeping pace with that need. There's a recent assessment that was done in opposition areas that talks about 3 million people who need help. We ourselves have identified 4 million people needing help, 2 million of them internally displaced. We think that those estimates are very conservative. They were made towards the end of last year. This is a human tragedy unfolding before our very eyes.
Are you frustrated then? You said you've briefed the Security Council. Are you frustrated and upset with the fact that the Security Council hasn't been able to impose the sort of aid shipments that perhaps up to 3-4 million people need?
I'm frustrated that as an international community, we have not been able to find a political solution to this crisis. I remain extremely concerned about the impact inside of Syria, on Syrians inside Syria, and also on Syrians fleeing over the borders, over 800,000 now. I'm concerned about the impact on neighboring countries, a huge burden on Jordan, on Lebanon, on Turkey, on Iraq, people now moving into countries in North Africa. This is not sustainable. We cannot continue like this over the next few weeks and months. A solution has got to be found that brings stability and security and that enables the people of Syria to be able to say what they would like in terms of their governance going forward.
Valerie, Amos, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.